Okay, so we'll start from there. What we spoke about was my story and about the entry to Achziv and about the companies. So Tzemach Hammerman, we presented a slide of Electra residences, and Tzemach Hammerman is our partner in this project. Also a very big company. Both are public. You can consider both of the companies top 10 in Israel. Also Electra residences and also Tzemach Hammerman. Now let's talk about the area where we're talking about. The West Galil is the area from, you can say, from Akko to Rosh Hanikra and east around Metzuba and Kabri Junction, if some of the people in here know. You can show the map, it's just in the next slide. Uh, yes, exactly. Right on the beaches, surrounded with a lot of attractions from tourists, like wineries and beers and scooters. I don't know how to say the English. Um, there are a lot of activities to do, and it's very touristic area to come to. We can consider it as a Tuscany of Israel in a way, or Cannes of Israel, if we can compare it to something. People come here in vacation from now. We're talking around Passover, from April till October, actually. You will see a lot of traffic of people coming there. The reason, the best beaches in Israel, lagoons, islands, uh, atmosphere of vacation, a lot of activities for kids and for older kids. Um, and everything started, you can go back to the previous slide. Everything started around, as I said before, around 60s, 70s, when a person called Eli Avivi decided to build a country inside of Israel. It started in our history, in the past, in the old history, the Phoenicians that started there. It's a very famous port for a lot of empires, but in our little history, around 60, 70, a guy named Eli Avivi decided to build a state in Israel that's called State of Achziv. And all the Buham from Tel Aviv and from around the world came there for Club Med and had a good time. So this is the time that our generation and the previous generation remember Achziv as a brand for vacation and for coming to do fun. So we can continue for the next slide. Everything looks like this, okay? From Achziv till Rosh Hanikra in the north, everything is lagoons. As I told you, I used to live there for 3 years until my wife wanted the moshav and to be on the ground, and also she didn't like it that the project manager is always hanging around the project, too much too much work. So we moved 8 minutes from there. But when I was living in Achziv, it was like putting my daughter on my shoulders, going to the beach takes 4 minutes, easy walk, a song on the background. A very chill atmosphere, very nice to walk there, to go back from the beach directly to your house, take a shower, and continue with your day. This is the life in Achziv. The farthest apartment from the beach is 400 meters. The closest is 200 meters, and it's the closest that you will get in Israel because the law actually from right now on is 300 meters and up from the beach. Except of the beach and the atmosphere, there's also water sports activity, and there is also a organized beach with a restaurant and now one of the most famous artist. You don't know that, Rafi, but Moshe Ben Ari, one of the famous artists in Israel, purchased the license to activate the beach in Achziv. It won't be Banana Beach anymore. It will be the beach of Moshe, and it's a destination. You have a beach of Moshe in Elat, and you have it in Tiberias, and always is the beach that all the people come to. Very good atmosphere vibe. Okay, so let's talk about the neighborhood. As I said, we're building it as stages. And again, when I say we, it's Electra, Residences, and Tzemach Hammerman. Phase A and B, it's already done, sold, occupied. More than 400 families live there, 432 to be exact. And phase three, it's a phase that we finished. We're now delivering it. By the way, a year before we were supposed to deliver it. Normally, contractors are late. We gave the keys for some of the people a year before. Um, and we completed the job of 192 units. We have some units left over there. It's also a project that you can consider. It's not a big amount of units. It's around 20 units that we have left over there. The advantage, it's suitable for people that want to live soon. It's ready. It's ready. You just need to put furnitures and you can start your beach life from now. Also a little bit cheaper than the next project. You can move another slide, another one. This is yes. So let me explain a little bit about it. This is an interesting. If you stay till now with all the problems, stay focused now. Now we're in the on the spot. So this is phase. Sorry. Okay. Sorry for the paintings. A and B, 430 units, completed, living, having fun. Okay. The third stage, this is phase C. We already delivered most of it. The last two buildings, we have some units left. Very good project, very high construction. Electra Construction was the contractor over there. Our office is over there. More than welcome to come and see it for yourself. Chinese work. So it's considered to be in Israel the best. So also a good product. This is phase D. Phase D is our premium apartments. We have much bigger apartments with higher details inside, um, larger tiles, air conditioned that you control every room, smart house and blinds with the light coming in. Uh, we invested a lot of money in the infrastructure over there because we planned it for people that want more. Okay, so it costs a little bit more, but again, for apartment on the beach, is not that much. Let's talk a little bit about pricing ranges and phase C to phase D. Our range run between around 2 million shekel for a 4-room apartment with a good view. I'm not talking about the ones that don't see the view and the first floor with the back. Most of the apartments see the view. You need to be above the villas in order to see clear view. And we're talking about 2 million shekels to get a decent apartment that see a very good piece of ocean. And you can finish at 5 million, okay, for a penthouse in the first row. This is the range. If you want a 4-roomer, it's between 2 million to 2.3. You want a 5-roomer, depends of what stages. A clarification, 5 rooms for all of you is 4 bedrooms, 1 living room. This is how we say it in Israel. So 5 rooms, that is 4 bedrooms and 1 living room, will cost between 2.7 million shekels to 3.2, something like that. A penthouse will be around 4.6, 4.7, 5 million shekels. And garden apartments, there is a very interesting product because you have a garden and it's very close to the beach, so it's nice. They cost between 2.7 to 3 million shekels. This is the range, more or less, for you to understand. Just as a comparison, there is not such a project in Israel that on the beach that close, on a decent beach, not contaminated beach or places that are a little bit more problematic, that has those prices. For a beach neighborhood, it's very affordable. And the next phase that you can get into it with an idea if you're not moving forward enough, because every project that the prices go up. Okay, so it's better to get a position a little bit beforehand. But another project that we're gonna start marketing in the next half a year, more or less, will be phase E. This one, and this is not boutique like this one. The one phase D, let's say it's 6 floors. Phase E will be 15 floors and 11 floors and 9 floors with commercial. So it's a different story. If you're looking for quiet boutique, phase D is perfect. Phase C, you have it's not as big as phase E. It's a good place in the middle. Um, so those are the prices. This is the range of apartments that we can offer. Let's talk about the neighborhood and the facilities. I think that it will be important for the majority of you that are planning to move or to come for vacation. But before I will tell you what we have in the neighborhood, I wanna focus on what kind of people buy here. And I will focus also on the audience of people that are coming from the States or from France and from UK and from Morocco and from South Africa that's purchasing this project. This is a unique project in Israel because it gives you the summer house in Israel. You can live in the summer house like I live and to enjoy life for good or just come to vacation. But it's a place that you can come and chill and have a good time at the beach and go to a good restaurant and have a good weather and much more relaxed than the city and the rush. I think that you understand that. So people that are buying here are as vacation investors. A lot of them buy here. That comes in the weekends, comes in the holidays, do Pesach, do that. In the meantime, or they rent it as Airbnb because it goes pretty well, or they rent it for a long term, or they don't rent it. It really depends what is the family needs, what are the family needs. Um, the other kind of people that actually buy to live here are also people that making aliyah. Some of people that want the relaxed kind of living, and people that live already in the north and are upgrading their life from the farther north that are getting closer to the center. There is a train in 7 minutes from the neighborhood. There is a bus in the neighborhood. You can get anywhere very easily. Road 6, I don't know if all of you know that. There's the fast fast road in Israel, payment road. How do you say it? How do you say it, Rafi?
The toll
Toll,
road.
toll, toll.
The
Yeah,
toll road.
exactly.
Right.
This is the word, toll. So it will get into a Capri Junction that is 5.5 kilometers from us. So the road to Tel Aviv will be very short. Uh, so people that actually buy to live here are families that are towards pension, that are their dream is to sell their house and to come to live on the beach, or younger couples with a dream of nature that want to combine the city life facilities and the nature, because as you see here, we're surrounded with it. And those are the three kinds of people that buy here. And we're talking about facilities like school that will be built. This is the school area. It's not built yet. Now we have a school bus like you normally do in the US, but that which send people to their schools or to the kindergartens. And you have two kindergartens in Khziv, those two. You have a commercial center and hotel that is under construction. This one over here. You have the boardwalk that is here, that is already built with some gym area over here. You have, of course, two parks for kids. You have the big park in here, and you have the smaller in here. Synagogue. Let's erase something. One second. Synagogue is important, so we're gonna clear. Yeah, synagogue is in here. Um, the beach the with a lifeguard. Yeah, everything is a beach. When I go to Akhziv and I used to live in here, we used to walk like this and go to the lagoon. and that's it. But if you want a lifeguard and you want a restaurant and you want everyone around you, so you come here. This is the famous beach. It was called Banana Beach. Now it's called Mosh Beach. This was Club Med, famous Club Med. So all of this from Achziv till Rosh Hanikah, it's 8 kilometers. All of this is a national reserve. This is the most important part in Achziv.
And I just want to
And
share with everybody, we actually have, my family has an apartment in Achziv. We bought it about almost 4 years ago. And for us, it's heaven on earth. We use it as a vacation home. We live near Modi'in, so it's about a 2 hour, hour 45-minute ride. We'll go out for Shabbat. We'll go out for a few days. My kids will meet up with friends. And really, if you're looking for a beautiful beach, if you're looking for a home that is near to everything that you need, from the trains, the buses, medical centers, restaurants, everything's just a few-minute drive away. And as Elran was saying, it really has the best of both worlds. It has the proximity to everything you need, and it has the beautiful, unspoiled beach of Achziv. So everyone, thank you. I think just in the interest of time, we just need to move on, but I'll share the video and I'll share the information. I'll send it out to everyone. And again, I apologize for the technical issues.
I told them that they were gonna get apartments for free for that.
That's very generous of you. That's very nice. That's very nice. Okay, let's move on again. I know that we're running late, so I just want to make sure that we give everyone an opportunity. So Avraham, why don't we turn it over to you? Just keep in mind, please, the time and focus on the important points. But let's, I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to share information about the legal aspects of buying a home.
Thank you very much, Rafi. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Elran, for the very interesting presentation you just did. I enjoyed meeting you also 2 months ago in Achziv, very beautiful place. Incidentally, we saw each other. Really appreciate that. And let's start now speaking about a bit of legal things that can be and are indeed very, very interesting for all of you. And we will try to take advantage of the time. So firstly, I want to speak with you about 2 main options of purchasing. Option number 1 is the first-hand purchase option, and the option number B is the second-hand purchase. Definitely, we're going now during this conversation, this presentation, to be more focusing about the first-hand purchase. But I want to give a few words also about the other option, which is the second-hand purchase. So let's start with the first-hand purchase. The advantages of first-hand purchase are, number 1 is very easy and smooth. When I'm saying easy and smooth, I mean you don't need to deal with several people with that, and with queries, like seller that has now a problem. Yeah, thanks, sorry. Yeah, a seller that now wants to speak about that or about that. Like, you have a very big company, in our case is Electra, very organized. I can tell you from our mutual work with them, they're very organized. Everything is very easy, very smooth. And we even taking sometimes the possession for clients, when they need. We have a company that speak with us, tell us, okay, Abraham, you want to take the possession, no problem, this is what you need to do. Everything is very, very organized. You know what you owe them, you know what is the debt. There are no conflicts, very, very organized and smooth. This is the big advantage when you work and you buy first-hand purchase, and especially when you buy from Electra also, which is very, very unique. For sure, it's one of the biggest companies in Israel. The other big advantage is that when you buy from a big firm, and also most of the first-hand purchase, but especially when you especially when you're buying from big firm like Electra, you get in return to your funds bank guarantee. You can see this is the second or the third point in the first line of the advantages. And I want to give you 1-minute explanation about the bank guarantee. In the past, it was very, very dangerous. When someone bought from a contractor, he gave him 1 million shekel, and in return, the contractor built the place slowly, reach another floor and another floor. And then what would happen if the contractor would collapse, suddenly in the middle? Contractor, this can happen. The contractor lost his funds, or worst case, even cheated, went abroad, took the money and flee. This can happen. So about 15 or 20 even years ago, there was a new regulation in Israel that came to protect all the buyers that buying from the contractor. I will not say all, but most of them. And nowadays, against every shekel you pay to the company, to Electra, you get independent letter exactly letter like that, and that the bank telling you, I am your guarantee. I'm going to bring you back the money if Electra will not be able to give you the property in time, for sure not in 1 month delay. But if there is a irrevocable problem, very serious problem, the bank will give you the money back by the independent bank guarantee. So this is the second point which I wanted a bit to speak with you about, a bit more long about that, because this it's very, very important. This is the big advantage. The other advantage is that you have a warranty. When you're buying from Electra or buying firsthand, you have a warranty. That means that you have someone that can fix the apartment. You know, suddenly you have a problem. After 1 year, you're living in the apartment. Suddenly you have leak. You have that problem. You have cracks in the walls. You can have many things, and you have someone that provide with a warranty. This is very, very important. And the last thing, you can see this in the last line of the advantages, is the point of 2080. This means that you pay 20% in a lot of the cases. You pay 10% or 30% or 20%. You don't need to put down a lot of money. You put this amount of funds, and then you can wait. Sorry, you can wait until the property is completed, and then you pay the balance, which is 70 or 80. And this means that you don't need now to allocate a lot of funds to the transaction. You can just put 20%, and this is a very, very big advantage. And especially for all of you that's thinking that I believe interesting now in Achziv. So to sum up, what are the advantages? Number one, it's easy and smooth. You have a big company, you're dealing with a big company. Now, number two, you have independent bank guarantee. Number three, you have a warranty. You have someone to fix their problem. And number four, you have very good schedule of payments that can take care of your needs. That's the advantages. And I'm trying to think what I want to tell you now in the short time we still have in this slide. Let me see. Let's speak about the disadvantage, because they are important for a second, then we'll move to the next slide. So the disadvantage, indeed, when you're buying from contractor, from Eliran, from any other company, you have one thing that you need to take into account, which is the index. You can see this is the first point in the disadvantages. The index means that your consideration in a lot of the cases, not in all of them, and I'm sure there are ways to overcome that with the company, but the index means that the amount can be increased by time, because the project is for 3-4 years. We taking into account some kind of inflation in the pricing of the materials, inflation in the pricing of the construction, etc. That's number one. And again, there are ways how to overcome that. Number two, during the years the property is being built, there is no rent, you have no income. So in other words, just put the 20%, the 30%, and you have no income. And number three, which is the last disadvantage, which I want to tell you, which is in this case of Achziv, I don't think it's so much right, but generally it's a bit more complicated to get, a very strong negotiation with those companies. But again, Electra is not this kind. So this, I think from this slide, this is what I want to tell you about that. Now I want to speak with you a few minutes about taxes. Let's start to speak a bit about that. 1 second, please. Okay, number one, purchase tax versus land betterment tax. I would like to speak with you about that. Any buyer in Israel needs to pay purchase tax upon buying. When someone is buying, he needs to pay purchase tax. How much? Depends on the situation. Sometimes it will be 8%, sometimes it will be much less. So let's speak about what will be in your case. Let's see the second point, the Israeli resident. Anyone who lives in Israel will have a very, very good purchase tax if this is his sole property. It means if this is the sole property you have no other properties in Israel, the tax you will pay on a property, let's say 3 million shekel, will be very, very good. If you are non-Israeli resident, you can see this in the third line, in the third option, you will pay 8%. So if, for example, you're buying in 3 million shekel, you will need to pay, I think it's 100,000 shekel for that, which is 8%. So these are the three things. Number one, purchase tax. What was it? It is a tax that need to pay, to be paid when you're buying. Second one, if you are Israeli resident and this is your first property, you have a very good purchase tax. And number three, if you are non-Israeli resident like you guys, you will need to pay 8%. And here comes the 4th point, which is new Olim. new Ole needs to, you will have the option when doing Aliyah to get a lot of the money of the 8% he paid back, a lot of it. And indeed, we're helping many clients to get the money back. And there are many ways, not many ways, but there is a very clear way how to do that, how to get it. And I would be more than happy to explain to each and every one of you privately also how to do that. We have some conditions, and I don't know if now it's time, maybe in the end of the slide, but you need to know that any of you that will buy property and pay 8% can get the money back if they will stand in specific conditions, such as timing when you're coming to Israel, when you will go back, etc. Okay, so that's the things about this slide. And the last thing I want to tell you is that my job is to do the due diligence, to check due diligence of the property, to make sure that there are no liens, no mortgages, no foreclosures, etc. And this is what we do for all the transactions. I don't want to make it too long because I know we are delayed, and I also know by Achziv project we don't need to check these things too deep because I know them very well. I know the project very well, and everything is 100% kosher. So we even don't need to speak about that today so much, roughly, so we can move on. If I want to tell you one, something to the way, that you can take is, number one, you need to move your money to Israel. You need to move the money to Israel as soon as you can. You need to have a mortgage pre-approval, and you need to have a lawyer in Israel.
Okay, thank you, Avram. One of the things also that Avram does, which I think is so helpful, is that there's a lot of things that foreign buyers and the people making Aliyah need help with, for example, opening up a bank account and things like that. So he really goes above and beyond. He doesn't just, he's not just a lawyer. There's a number of other things that they need, that people need, and he really goes the extra mile and does that. So thank you very much, Avram. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm a bit with the kids here, sorry. Okay.
Eliran, can you now we're up to Natan. Can you add Natan to the presenter? If you can just search in the, because I'm not able to do that. If you click on the participants, you see him there, and just
yeah.
there you go. Hi, Natan.
Hello.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let's speed round. We're up to the speed round.
All right. Okay, speed round it is. I'm gonna keep it simple. And I'll just say that if there are questions in the background, then feel free to reach out. We're gonna go for the super simple. An Israeli mortgage and an American mortgage on some fundamental level are still mortgages. However, an Israeli mortgage is different enough that it's almost not useful to think about it. I'm gonna give you just one example. In the US, you have a 30-year fixed rate. In Israel, you have variable rates that vary once a month, once a year, once every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. So, by the way, there are other options also that got added on. You can index to inflation here in Israel, which is a totally foreign concept compared to the US. Your duration does not have to be a 30-year duration. It can change. You can do a 27-year duration. You can do a 20-year duration. You can do a 15-year duration. You can, as long as the duration is on an annual basis, you can do it. You can have your mortgage denominated not just in shekels, but in dollars or euros for very specific situations. And you can mix and match. You can make multiple subloans, which comprise your larger mortgage. And that lends a lot of flexibility if you actually think through methodically, and that's one of the things that we do when we sit with clients. You can actually build a mortgage that's pretty darn tailored to what you guys need. Those are some of the differences. I'm going to go through a few more differences. Number one is your loan to value. Your loan to value is essentially how much money you can get from the bank as compared to the actual value of the home. So a super simple example, you have $1 million, a home that's worth $1 million. At 45% loan to value, you can get 450,000, for example. At 75%, you can get 750,000 in financing. The rest comes out of your down payment. The way that it works is if you're a single property buyer, like Avram mentioned, also with the taxes, something very similar happens with the mortgage. You can get up to 75% if you are an Israeli resident. If you're not, Sometimes it depends, but largely it's around 50%. And if there are questions on that, then I'll go into that later. If you're multiple property or a non-citizen buyer, then it's definitely going to be 50%. And if you're mixed, then you take the average at 62.5%. Those are the general financing options. If you go to the next slide, then these are the basic numbers. When it comes to income, the maximum that you can get is something that I call 39% of net income. What does that mean? Net income after taxes, right? And then after your gross expenses. So for example, car loans, bank loans, so on and so forth. Long-term rentals, if you decide not to move into the property and you're going to continue paying rent. So after the taxes and after your monthly expenses, you take your net income and then you take 39% of that. So for example, let's say you have a net income of 10,000, you can pay up to 3,900 each month. All right, that's how the income works. Moving on to the next slide in our speed round. And if I'm going too quickly, then really we're going to leave contact information up and feel free to reach out. The next important point to bring up is budgeting. When you take out, and we mentioned the flexibility, we mentioned different types of subloans and all these different things that you can do. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is an overarching plan for a stable mortgage, right? You have to, number one, look at how much money do you actually need. You don't want to take out too much for the very simple reason that if you take out too much, you're going to be paying for it in interest rates. But you also want to make sure that when you're taking the amount of mortgage that you do, your monthly payments, they can change. They can vary slightly. They can vary greatly. And one of the things that we do when we build is we make sure that as the mortgage payments change, they're conducive to your life, right? Because your mortgage is going to last more than a year or two. It's going to follow you through the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So you have to go through A, B, C, D, so on and so forth on your path from A to Z. And we're very cognizant of that in planning the mortgage itself. Okay, one of the things that we do is we do a deep dive, right? Obviously, it's part of my job to be up to date on what's happening financially, but we actually do a pretty good job of explaining it and really simplifying it in a way that's not just palatable and nice, but actually effective at giving you almost agency, the ability to decide for yourself, right? And I often say that as much as I know mortgages, nobody's going to know you guys as much as you do, right? You've literally been living yourself with for decades, right? And so what we do is we synergize. I let you know the relevant parts. I'm not going to give you a crash course in Israeli mortgages because it's going to take forever. But I let you know what the relevant parts are that are pertinent to your mortgage, and then you're going to come along and we're going to develop a discussion around what you want, what you need. And doing that's going to actually bring a mortgage that more than anything, more than just my expertise alone, and more than just what you want to happen alone, we're going to come together to actually make a mortgage that fits you. That's one of the most important things that we do. And if we move on to the next slide, we'll see this also. We actually look at, okay, how are the pathways for the mortgage going to change over time? We're going to look at how quickly your principal is going to go down, to what extent. And I know that these things may seem like Chinese. I'm telling you that when I'm done explaining, you will actually understand, and enough so that you'll effectively be able to decide what's happening with your mortgage. I have clients calling me afterwards, even like a year or two later. I remember that we discussed this. How does this affect? And we have all these interesting questions, which, by the way, I love keeping up with clients after the fact. So it's something that's really both important and also powerful. A few exceptions to the rule, okay? You are able to get more than 75% financing. I mentioned 75%. Those are the generally accepted mortgages. There are other mortgages from non-banking lenders where you can get more. Business mortgages, you can, by the way, buy with a foreign LLC. You can get a business mortgage, and that's not limited by the normal residential banking regulation. If you're a retiree, you may have heard rumors that past 60, it's a no-go. Nobody wants to give you a mortgage. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes it could be harder, right? Sometimes it's not as hard as you think it is. And honestly, the best thing to do is to reach out and ask. And when you're talking about single citizen spouses, you are able to get larger LTVs, okay? A few tips. When do you reach out? Before shopping. It almost goes without saying, but I do find that it's useful to mention it. If you figure out what your budget is first, right, which is that the first initial phone call that I have with all clients is let's set a budget, right? If you go shopping first, you're gonna finish, you're gonna be exhausted, you're gonna be a bit dejected. You may have found something that you liked and it's not the actual right price point. It's just one of those things where you measure twice, cut once. Like, let's figure out what your budget is, and then you can go shopping within the range that we set. It's largely informed by the numbers that you tell me over the phone. Mortgages, yes, mortgages are done all over Israel, and I mean all over Israel. And if you have any questions, especially after this speed round, and I hope that I made it on time, then feel free to ask Rafi to put us in touch. I would love, love, love to help you guys.
Thank you so much, Natan, and thank you for accelerating that. One of the things that both Natan and Avram do gladly is have free consultations, and it's something that whenever I talk to somebody who's just at the beginning part of the process, maybe they're just thinking about buying a home 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, I always tell people that the information, that it's important that they understand the process and have some information that they can keep in mind. And whenever I reach out to Natan or Abraham or Eitan, who's from Mr. Transfer that we'll be talking about in a moment, they're all extremely happy to just get on a call, have a short 15-20 minute conversation, and just answer your questions. And so I will send around an email with everyone's contact information, and I really do encourage you to reach out to each one of us to have that call. And of course, with Eliran and with the project Nachziv, we're happy to share more information with you as well. Okay, moving on now to Isra transfer. So unfortunately, Daniel, who's going to present for Isra transfer, he had a death in the family just a few hours ago and wasn't able to attend. So he was going to record it. Eitan, I don't know if you want to turn your camera on here because Eitan actually works for Isra transfer as well. And just he will be available. He'll be a point contact there. Let me just see if I can get this to work. Oh, you know what? My apologies. Let me just, there's a different version that he sent me. Eitan, do you want to just go through the presentation and just kind of hit the high points? If you don't mind, I think, considering our time constraint, I think that would be best.
So I'm not sure I could do the exact presentation because
Okay.
it is Daniel's, Daniel prepared this and his uncle unfortunately passed away, but I can tell you pretty much that the reason people use Isra transfer, you could go through the slides, Rafi, also. It'll just be a little different. Basically, dealing with the banks here is not always the easiest. Customer service isn't always the best. They're not always nice. And the rates are much higher. So whereas by using us, you could get better rates, and we help you with all the paperwork that you need, because you can't just bring funds over. There's a lot of regulation in Israel. You need to show how exactly you earned the money, where it came from. And these are things that we guide you on, and we tell you pretty much what is needed. So that way, when you actually send the money, you know that it'll be cleared right away. The rate, we work off the mid-market rate, which is always moving. Okay, it's moving every 60 seconds. But with us, you'll always see what you get before you actually convert the funds. So you could get yourself cleared and have everything ready. And then you just go and basically go into your online portal, and you could click on get rate. You could see how much it comes out to. And if you like what it is at that moment, you could confirm the trade. And if not, you could just go in later and trade your funds. So it's really about getting everything ready. As this slide says, the rate's always moving. We don't control the rate, but the real trick is that we get you ready to convert it whenever is good for you.
Right. And one thing, if I can just jump in, I'll say with exchange rates, it has a big impact on the amount of shekels that you can get at the end of the day. And so what we tell people is that it might make sense for you to transfer the money to Isra transfer, to have everything ready, to have the funds in Israel, and then wait until either the interest rates move in your favor, and then you can exchange it at that point, or wait until you're ready to make the purchase and then exchange it. So no one knows where the market's going to go, and I think that's the point of the slide here. But there are some pretty big fluctuations in exchange rates, interest rates, and if you do have that luxury of waiting, it might make sense to keep an eye on the interest rates and try and time it so that you end up with more shekels in your pocket, when you're ready to buy the apartment.
Right, and as Rafi said, like we could get you ready to convert the funds whenever you're ready. So it's a big advantage with using us. We all speak English, French also. It's not really relevant for here, but we speak your language and we're here to help. I don't know who exactly is familiar with Israel at all, but as an American Israeli, I came here at a young age. It can be tough here at times dealing with the regulation and the customer service here, but this is why we're here. We're here to help and guide you through everything. And we really want you just to talk to us. It doesn't cost anything. As Rafi said, we can consult with all of you. The only fee is when you actually convert the funds. So you can speak to us. We could explain how it all works. You could decide yourself if you want to use us. So that's pretty much what we do. There are different ways to open the account. One of the ways is that if by any chance you met an Israeli lawyer like Abraham, he can verify your IDs. If you did not, good chance we have a rep in your area in New York or Miami or wherever you're located, and we'll send someone to you. And all you need is just two valid IDs, and that's how we open the account. So once you speak to us, we'll evaluate your situation and decide like where the best solution to opening your account is. Something very important actually is that we can make all the payments for you. You don't even need a bank account, meaning we could transfer it to the seller, the person you're purchasing from, and all that. Obviously, once you get here, you'll eventually need a bank account. But if you need to make a transfer beforehand or something like that, that's something that we can do. So it's a big advantage of using us. That's me. Fun fact is I also spend some time up north. I spend weekends in a little moshav called Beit Hillel. It's the other side of Nahariya, the other side of Israel, but it's the north is really beautiful. It's great. It's just a great place to enjoy Israel.
Great. Thank you very much, Eitan. I'm just going to rewind to the beginning. I just want to take literally 3 or 4 minutes just to covering the topics, some just tips for those of you who might find it interesting, and then we'll get to some Q&As and handle some questions. I know we're kind of over the hour, but I just want to share some information with you, and then we'll do some questions. So just a few tips about looking to find communities, right? First of all, it's never too early to start planning. And again, it's for people who are making Aliyah, for people who are living here. You might not want to buy something for 2 years, 3 years from now, but there's a benefit to planning now, right? And just getting information, talking to people, doing the research. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of new communities, communities that maybe you aren't familiar with. And so doing the research and starting to plan early is very helpful. Be open-minded, and what I mean by that is that there are probably 5 or 6 Anglo communities everyone heard of: Ra'anana, Modi'in, Yerushalayim, Tel Aviv, so on and so forth. But then there's a lot of other cities and communities that are up-and-coming, emerging communities that are wonderful communities, warm communities. And we talked about Achziv and Nahariya, and that's a perfect example. And there's a lot of other cities that are more of a mixed Israeli American. And if you feel that you will feel comfortable in these communities, be open-minded. You can always rule options out. So start with a wider list, a longer list, and then go through and say, okay, well, this community is not for me, that community is not for me. But if you start with more of an open-minded approach, then you might actually discover a community that you've never heard of, you've never considered, that might be perfect for you. If you are living abroad, and you're thinking about buying a home this is going to be your residence, then we strongly encourage that you come on a pilot trip, right? To come and actually see with your own eyes. We can introduce you to realtors, we can introduce you to developers, and you can buy things remotely. But if you have the opportunity to come and see and talk to people in person, then a pilot trip is something that we would really recommend. Learning Hebrew is more for people who are thinking about making Aliyah as well. Of course, the more Hebrew you have, even if it's just basic Hebrew, will help you adjust and acclimate. And that's of course what we're all striving for. And the last point is, don't be afraid to get help. There are a lot of wonderful individuals. You've met some of them today. We're all here because we want to help. We want to help you make Aliyah. We want to help you find a home in Israel. We want to help you, find an investment property. Everyone has their own goals, their own interests, and we're here to help. And there's a lot of other organizations, a lot of other people that are just here to help. So don't be afraid, don't be bashful, just reach out to people and we'll be glad to guide you. So with that, I just want to apologize again for the tech issues, and I want to just see if we can maybe find see if there are questions that we can answer a few questions before. Let's see here. Just gonna Avram, there's a question. Well, Avram, well, maybe even the time actually more relevant for you. A question about Bank of Israel stopping the 20 to 80%. They were trying, I read recently also that they're going to get more conservative, and I actually reached out to Eliran about this, and I know it doesn't affect Eliran and Electra. Maybe if you can just share with the audience that new, the new rules that they're considering.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a one-liner and then a somewhat technical answer. The one-liner is that it doesn't shut it off completely as much as it severely limits. What's really happening behind the scenes is that banks are allowed to pour their money into certain sectors as investments. And so the requirements for how much money they can put into these types of investments, right? Because a building project from a bank's perspective is also a type of investment. It's just going to be much higher requirements, which is going to have the effect of limiting. There are certain companies which are very strong companies, and I want to echo what Avram said. Very few companies manage to get things done on time. Even fewer companies manage to get the properties done early, which is absolutely incredible. So Electra is a very, very, very strong company, and specifically for Electra, it doesn't affect it as much. In terms of the broader real estate market, yes, it does mean that those deals will be further and fewer between, but they won't be completely gone.
Okay, great. Then there's a question about the Israeli residents, right? And that impacts both the purchase tax and the mortgages. So if you can just define, how an Israeli resident is defined, I think that'd be helpful for everybody.
Yeah. So it's first and foremost a legal explanation. So I'm a bit hesitant to do this without Avram. Generally speaking, it's defined by your center of life. That's the actual phrase, the Merkaz Chaim, which is generally 183 days in a country, right? If you're a little bit more than half a year in Israel, then that's considered the center of life. For tax purposes, it is defined by Israeli residency. For mortgages, different banks do different things. Some banks actually do it based off of Israeli citizenship or not Israeli citizenship. And so there are Israelis that are living abroad that would be viable candidates for the full financing. I would say in both those cases, both for the purchase tax and for the mortgage, if you're unsure, then feel free to reach out.
Great. And they want a question for you about the different price points for the different phases of the development. You mentioned that, there's the one that's almost done, and then there's the new one, and then the new one that's going to start. They're just asking about, which one's cheaper, how do you price the structure there?
The cheaper one is the one that we just finished building. The reason that the phase 4, phase D, is more expensive because the infrastructure is richer and the apartments are bigger. And also, the train keeps moving. So every project that we continue and develop will be higher than the previous one. As you understand, Electra and Tamach are both public, big, for-profit companies, and we own this whole neighborhood. So every project will be more expensive than the previous one. So my recommendation is first, if you are able and you're into it right now, you have the ability to purchase as soon as possible, and not as an urgency or selling you something. Just this is how it goes in Israel, and this is how it goes in Achziv specifically, because it's a developing area. So every step you go forward, it's getting more and more expensive. So the range of prices for 4-room, or again in the phase 3, sorry, will be around 2 million shekels, 108 square meters of an apartment, 14 meters of a balcony, and a nice chunk of a beach view. So this is a 4-room. A 5-room will be around 2.7 in the third stage. In the fourth stage that we're building at this point, we got permits, we're already building, the trains are there, and they're doing a wonderful job. The fourth stage, it's about 10-15% more expensive because of the infrastructure, because of the more boutique buildings, because a little bit more closer to the beach, and because it's a futuristic project that will be delivered in the next 3 years. The phase after that, we don't have the price list yet, but it will be more expensive than phase 3 for sure. Phase 4 is a little bit more, as I said, the description is higher, that it's more cutting edge. So I'll estimate it will be between phase 3 and 4 in the price range. So if it's not 2 million shekels in phase 3 and 15% more in phase 4, so it will be about 10% more, my estimation, but we'll see very soon.
Okay, thank you. There's a question here about the recording. So yes, we will send out a recording, even though the webinar got a little messed up, but we'll send it out. And I think in general, what I just want to mention, and this is one of the things that both Electra and Isra Transfer have offered as a kind of a little benefit, is that if anybody contacts Eliran, or if anyone's interested in buying an apartment and actually signs a registration, which is not a commitment, but it's a show of interest, by the end of April, so from a month from now, then they're offering a 10,000 shekel voucher for Electra appliances that you can use to buy your appliances. So just in terms of a little bit of a thank you for joining us today, that's something that they have graciously offered. And we have an ongoing promotion with Isra Transfer that any of our Olim Advisor clients that reach out to them, they offer discounted rates on transfers of 90,000 shekel and more, and also lower minimums. So in general, as you can see, we're not just trying to provide you with information and guidance, we're also trying to save you some money wherever we can. So again, thank you for joining tonight. Again, I apologize for all the issues. Hopefully it's a one and done and won't happen again, but we will do more webinars in the future. And the most important thing is, if you have questions, if you're interested in these topics, reach out to us and we'll be happy to talk to you. So have a good week, everyone. Shabbat Tov. Be well.
Shabbat Tov. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Well,
Bye-bye.
so